Hello everybody. So as I promised actually already by putting a photo on the Instagram on the beach, I did some preparation for this vlog, so you don't see everything which is happening between the scenes, but that is something which always needs to be done before actually preparing every vlog, every content which I do on my YouTube channel. So here we are on the Dutch beach. Maybe I can just give you a flavor of it before we start to talk about things related to science. But I think this is really nice to actually be, especially in Netherlands, when good weather is not always we have good weather, is actually to come to beach and talk about science and talk about, especially today, something very exciting which I hope you were waiting for, about game changers, this time the spicy ones in regenerative medicine. So last time I talked about delicious ones, which are very nice, and I think please also come back to this vlog if you didn't watch it. But today we'll talk about spicy game changers. So the one which are bringing a lot of thinking, but also a lot of controversies, especially we think about stem cells. So the first game changer, which I think it's quite spicy, it's the cellular therapies. And thanks again to Ulrich Betts, which was my inspiration by bringing his review and bringing his perspective about all different game changers, which one of them are also cellular therapies. But for me, closer to bring it about cellular therapies, especially the spiciness, to bring the spiciness right away, is about telling you something about stem cell medical tourism. Tourism, because there are desperate people over the world, patients, which need desperate treatment for their disease, because they are maybe at very severe acute stage of their disease, and they think that stem cells can basically rescue them. And this tourism is happening all over the world. Myself, I had already a few times when I start actually my startup that people which are having in families family member which is looking for stem cell treatment ask me, "Hey Aneta, can you recommend some stem cell clinics to rescue my family member or to help my family member because he suffered maybe acute organ failure or dysfunction or cardiac disease?" And I many times had to refuse because I said that I'm not medical doctor, I'm scientific doctor, and I can only indicate certain failures, scientific failures in treatments or innovation in treatment, in developing successful stem cell based therapies, but I cannot give any medical advice. That's not allowed, and that's also not ethical in terms also of being scientist. So, and actually being professional. So in that case, if you think about stem cell spiciness, so this stem cell medical tourists, people going all over the world to different clinics to try out any different types of stem cell therapy in order to really the most desperate patients, if you think about them. This is still ongoing, it is happening, and it's hard to actually follow and systematically build this knowledge. How many clinics are performing not completely approved stem cell treatments for single patients. So that's something which we don't know even globally. It's happening globally, it's happening everywhere. But I'd like to give you two examples. This tourism is basically made on one type of sometimes studies which you see published in sometimes even scientific journals, and they bring something which I really don't like, commercialization of the title to attract the most desperate patients. So, for example, there was one of the titles which was there was about universal donor stem cells for treating brain damage, or for example. And I will put you these links in the, since I'm doing vlog now in live, almost with titles. I don't have so many tools here as on the beach as in the office. But this were about, actually, the title brought message about universal donor stem cells which can help treatments. And these titles I really don't like as a scientist, and I like to really bring it strong in this vlog. That first of all, this title talked about universal donor stem cells, and they did this misleading by bringing stem cells, something like universal, so for everybody, just to catch attention of this desperate, potentially desperate patients. But when you actually read what you read in article itself, it was, first of all, this was not stem cell therapy. These were oligodendroglial progenitor cells, which were were made actually in process of differentiating induced pluripotent stem cells, which I already talked about in the last vlog. And this is very dangerous too. If you don't use stem cells in the therapy, you should never bring it in the title. Yeah, this is misleading scientifically, but also brings some commercial potential effect of attracting such desperate patients. So if you don't use stem cells, don't put it in the title. And that's something which I try to react always on LinkedIn as a biologist, especially as a stem cell biologist, to bring attention. Hey, the article, this treatment is not about stem cells, it's about progenitor cells, which are differentiated from induced pluripotent stem cells. The other thing is, this article also talked about engineered induced pluripotent stem cells to make them less immunogenic. That's why it's more universal for every patient. So hypo-immunogenic, the term which was used in the article. And that's something which I also am careful, because this is engineered stem cell. And Paul Knopfler, which is also following all this in a way misleading, unethical stem cell treatments, and trying to also point out on LinkedIn that this is wrong, or this is not approved ethically, or even it's not professional treatment, it's not accredited, not coming from accredited stem cell clinics, then you have to always think that this iPS first was engineered, and we know that induced pluripotent stem cells may bring, if they are not well standardized, but also especially bringing it to the human patient, then they can lead to tumorigenic effects, so developing of the cancer. So these cells can also be karyotypically, so their genome might be, so that's why karyotypic unstable means that their genome might be unstable, and thereby these are not healthy cells to first place use for therapy. And I keep here this brackets healthy, because they are genetically engineered, so modified. That was the first notion. And the second notion, which I like, so title, but also engineered stem cells brought for therapies like induced pluripotent stem cells, genetically modified. And the third, which is important, I like to bring this spiciness, because this spiciness really has tremendous impact on our understanding also as a patient, is actually stem cell therapy, or genetically modified stem cells, safe therapy for any type of diseases you could think of. And I think attraction is even bigger, because now a lot of stem cell therapies, also clinical trials, has been ongoing to treat cardiac disease and stroke. These are the top two leading cause of death globally, worldwide. So this brings even bigger attention of any desperate patients. So if you think from this perspective, that makes this even more risky in bringing global risk of using genetically engineered stem cells. Then we go, and I have to really speed up because there are two other game changers which I'd like to mention, but these are the most important because they also, I'm stem cell biologist, so the stem cell cellular therapies and their development is one of the most important things for me as a biologist, for me as a scientist, entrepreneur. So if we think about the third spiciness that comes directly from the news, actually coming from Italy. I told you this happening worldwide, this stem cell medical tourism, which is devious in a way. And here there was a study where transplant surgeon decided to take or actually gave patients synthetic trachea, which was actually having or which was carrying stem cells from the patient's own bone marrow. And of course this is more autogenic, right? We deliver something from patients, stem cells from patients, which is the most compatible. But what was the danger here, not only bringing stem cells, but delivering experimental treatment which actually caused death of the patients, and bring something synthetic in terms of biomaterials, as much as genetically engineered stem cells should be also taken into account. And that's something which I really don't like when people are experimenting on patients, on desperate patients, knowing that the risk is a death of the patient. I think that's something which has to go back to preclinical studies and has to be tested before it's introduced in human patients. So that's something about the spiciness of the stem cell tourism, which I'm really against, and which I'm also trying to also correct even scientists on LinkedIn publishing this type of articles by bringing too strong commercial title or using terms of stem cells everywhere just to attract these desperate patients. So the second game changer, because of course I don't want to talk for hours. I could bring you a lot of examples of this very dangerous stem cell medical tourism, which is happening worldwide, just to catch your attention that it happens really in every country in Europe, but also in other countries, in other overseas countries, in US, in China, everywhere. So that I will also give you links there. But the second spicy game changer, which I'd like to talk about, is, as you can see, can you see it? It's artificial intelligence and robotics. And I think there are plenty already of books and information of LinkedIn that AI is fantastic to generate, especially in terms of digital health tools. It can be fantastic logistically. But if we go and think about combining artificial intelligence with machine learning and developing tools to diagnose patients, that can be very dangerous and very spicy, and again can lead to many difficult and also ethically difficult from perspective of medical doctor decisions regarding next step, which artificial intelligence combined with machine learning would help us to predict in patients' treatment. Of course, data analysis, yes, right? MRI data analysis, big data sets analysis, this is all great, and we should use artificial intelligence and machine learning in developing certain patterns also in learning. But we have to be very careful when we want to combine especially artificial intelligence, machine learning and robotics. And about robotics, of course, in invasive treatments. So that's something which Ulrich talked about, nanobots. I will bring also links to this article. These are already start to be very advanced invasive robotic tools which may enter human body And we need to actually know, again, in preclinical models, also in vitro models. Please don't forget about in vitro models before you move to in vivo models, to animals, to really see how this basically nanobots are behaving within biological in vitro system. And that's something which we can test easily on organoids, and I think that's something which I also would like to think about if we want to combine robotics with actually or move it to nanomedicine field. And you will see a lot of science fiction movies probably in the future about this, but we have to be still very, very careful. What I also don't really like about artificial intelligence, although there is so much hype about this, is that we still don't have standardization. So we don't have standardization not only in cellular therapies, which maybe I will make another vlog on the beach about this, because I can go more in details and explain you more in detail, especially for this potential desperate patients which are searching for stem cell treatment. But we lack standardization, but also regulation. And ethically, these are still not clearly resolved things. To which extent we will combine artificial intelligence with medicine. And I'm talking here especially about humanoids, so robots, which are some kind of hybrid between a robot and human, which already we've seen on many science fiction movies. So that's something which I think we have to ask, how far we want to use AI technology, to which extent we want to explore its potential, and we have to predict risks of it. And there we need to really discuss this globally. And in multidisciplinary way. So that's something which I'd like to bring on, not to talk too long about this. So definitely strict regulatory regulations to any AI tools which are developed or prototypes which are developed. And the third spicy game changer is sustainability. Difficult word, but also difficult to develop. Because a lot of innovation is happening without thinking yet about, first of all, sustainable business model. In many types of innovations you don't see that. And Ulrich very nicely showed that we should design this sustainable model of innovation by iterative process. And this is happening in modeling agile type of modeling prototype, which is called design thinking. Iterative, improving, step-by-step prototypes or innovative therapies, if you think in terms of cellular or stem cell-based therapies. So that's something which is very important for the future. But we have to remember that to develop such sustainable innovations in terms of regenerative medicine, cellular stem cell-based therapies, we need sustainable funding. And it's not just about stem cells, about all different types of innovation. So if we don't have sustainable funding or financial support, we will be never able to develop such sustainable models, because sustainability should guarantee a constant flow of funding in order to bring this through iterative process prototype to the market and commercialize it, or bring it this therapy to clinical trials. We need funding, right? We need basically money for that, sustainable source of money. And if we don't have that, how we can talk about sustainability overall in innovation? That's very difficult. Secondly, sustainability is something which I also wanted to bring in terms of human body, but also change. We live in aging environment. Our society is aging, undergoing constant change. Also because if you could even very easily think about climate change. So when the sustainability also can be guaranteed if we have sustainable environment. But what if this environment is changing, right? Undergoing changes. Our population worldwide is also aging, so it's undergoing changes. Our stem cells even are undergoing aging. So we have to think in terms of cellular models, aging models, change-driven models. And sustainability is something which is actually something opposite to a change, right? We cannot create models or sustainability if our innovation space is changing. Our stem cells undergoing changes. Our society is aging. So that's really difficult, and I think that's the biggest problem I have currently. So to summarize, 3 spicy game changers I talked about today are cellular therapies, particularly stem cell therapies. And I think this is very important for me to talk about this also by being stem cell biologist, by understanding and having broad knowledge about this subject. The second was about artificial intelligence and robotics. And the third was about sustainability. So that's the 3 spicy game changers I'd like to talk about today. And there will be extra agile vlog on particularly stem cell therapies and standardization. I think this is really important for you guys to explain it. Also to explain it not only to scientists, to biologists, or to stem cell biologists, but also to general public. To be able to understand it, and also to politicians, because I also have some audience which represents D66, education-based party, so or oriented party, political party. So that's something about also education purpose of this next vlog. And I was really happy to actually perform this vlog. That's the first vlog on agile vlog on this beach. And this is the first time I'm doing it on this particular beach, because other vlogs in last year I did on other beaches in Hague. So I'm really happy to have actually many different beaches so that I can present the important content in very nice summer location. And of course I don't have a table here. Maybe that will be the next development. But I think now I'm standing, I'm performing this vlog in standing position, and I think that's something which brings more active, more agile character of this vlog. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned in, because these stem cell based therapies are very important for everybody, for all of us, because how good they will be designed and performed and developed as an innovative therapy, especially for diseases which are cardiac diseases, neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer. These are very important worldwide recognized diseases which we all suffer. So please stay tuned, and please also don't forget to subscribe. Then I can generate more high quality content. So I'm looking forward to more subscribers, also more interactions. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. I'm really happy to answer them and develop. Maybe you have some inspiration for the next vlogs, which you would like to know more, learn more from the beach, having this beautiful beach environment. So please also put it in the comments. And again, thank all subscribers for watching, but also all new ones for subscribing and staying tuned. Take care, enjoy the summer, and see you next time. Bye!